For more insight, we are joined by former NASA astronaut and ISS commander, Dr. Leroy Chiao. Dr. Chiao, you are the one I want to speak to about this. Thanks for making the time tonight.
You bet. My pleasure.
So Russia appears to be downplaying this leak. What do you think about this? Could it lead to a catastrophic failure? Are the astronauts safe?
Well, I would say the astronauts are safe at the moment. As you said, the leak has been going on for 5 years. So both sides have known about it. They've been troubleshooting it. They've been unable to figure out exactly where it's coming from. It was a little bit concerning. But the fact is that they are currently isolating that piece of it. And if you were going to have a leak on the ISS, that's probably one of the best places to have it because it's in a rather small vestibule, easily isolatable. It does block the port where the Russian resupply ships dock, but they could also dock at different ports as well. So it's a manageable problem at the moment, but of course we want to keep monitoring it.
Yeah, why is there disagreement between the U.S. and Russia on this? Basically, NASA is the one warning of potential catastrophic failure, and it seems like Russia doesn't want to fix it. Is it because they would have to foot the bill, or what's going on here?
Well, the point is that nobody knows exactly where the leak is coming from. Is it coming from one of the rubber seals? Is it coming from one of the welds? Is it metal fatigue, which would be a bigger deal because that implies that all of the Russian modules might be suffering from the same metal fatigue. So we just don't know. And hopefully, because it's in that one isolated small area, it's not an actual metal fatigue, which would be a bigger concern because then all of the Russian modules would be suspect. Now you have to remember these modules are based on the same design that the Russians have been doing since the 70s. And for Space Station Mir, for example, this module is only rated for 6 years of life. And here we are at 20 plus years on the ISS. So maybe it shouldn't be a huge surprise that there's some small issues. The Russians, I think, are less concerned about.
I'm sorry to laugh, Dr. Chow. That does sound a little nuts.
But my point is that the Russians, they've seen this before on their previous space stations. It's the same design. So they've seen small leaks like this. And so because they've had experience with it, they're a little less concerned about it than NASA. But that's not to say that it's not serious. Of course it's serious. Anytime you have an air leak on a station or a submarine, that's a big deal.
A big deal. And you've called this leak a head scratcher. Some of the theories being floated include sabotage. Who would want to sabotage the ISS?
I would discount the sabotage part. I think the reason that came up is because you might remember a couple of years ago or a few years ago, there was a leak in one of the Soyuz spacecraft. And it turned out it looked like there were drill marks and drill holes. The Russians were implying that one of the American astronauts did it, which was really crazy because, like you said, why would anyone on board want to do that? And it was much more likely, in fact, I'm sure it was a manufacturing defect that somebody made that tried to cover it up by putting epoxy into it. So I would say this is not that same situation. It's probably, like I said, either the rubber
Just
seal.
Fatigue, yeah. Fascinating other story that you bring to us here. I do want to ask, if there was a problem where the astronauts did need to get out of the space station immediately, is there a plan for that? What would that look like?
Well, sure. I mean, we always have escape vehicles available. Even the Boeing spacecraft that's currently, or no, I guess it's gone. But NASA has brought up extra seats for the SpaceX spacecraft that's docked to the space station. So in the worst case scenario that they had to evacuate, there are enough seats for everyone to get out. And so in the very worst case, we would abandon the station. And, we would get the astronauts and the cosmonauts back home safely.
Okay, Dr. Leroy Chiao, always really enjoy speaking with you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.